Hello, this is Reverb Audio, and I'm ranting here. And my rant is a reality check because this was initiated by Andre's comment that many people don't believe these numbers. And Andre is totally right. There's a loads of people who just absolutely refuse to accept facts. And what sort of facts they are. So here I had a video on home theater experience, and I describe what were the power levels that I actually measured, that I was listening to when it played really loud, and conversation level, and they were talking in a softer voice. But even when they were talking in a softer voice, that was not the softest sounds that were in the experience. And these numbers are actually extremely low because I'm using ultra efficient loudspeakers. And for some people, this just doesn't compute. So now let's just get some reality check. And I want to do that because on one hand, people are perfectly willing to accept really inflated, really BS stuff because you hear it in the marketing slogans, and just because people are mindlessly repeating and copying it without ever questioning anything about that. And that's why I got really upset because we have, I mean, we audiophiles have this attitude that we don't want to accept those facts which are not in line with what the marketers want you to believe. So nowadays the slogan is that we want like 800 watts amplifiers and things like that, and if you have anything less than that, then the bass response will suck, and you won't have anything for you. And now here I am telling you guys that you can have ultimate home theater experience with deep bass, and I mean under deep bass going down below 20 hertz bass for less than 1 watt. Like, this does not compute with those marketing BS that you are hearing day in day out. And the reason for that, well, one reason you would say that okay, Janos, here you are using a 102 dB ultra efficient loudspeaker, so 102 dB per watt meter, and not that Kokai story 2.83 watts per meter, which translates to much lower dB per watt meter figures than what they are, but true watt meter. And when you have that sort of efficiency, then you are using less power, but not that much less power that you would think. So now let's have a look at how much less power I'm using and what do you need for to reach loud levels. With here I will use an ultra efficient speaker with 102 dB, and here we will use 82 dB efficient, the figures for that. So basically, if you have a 102 dB efficient loudspeaker with 1 watt, you are getting 102 dB sound pressure level. That's enough for the neighbors to call the cops, and when the cops arrive, you won't hear them knocking on your door, and you won't even hear them breaking down your door. The only thing you will notice is that there is a police officer demanding you to shut down your stereo. So now that requires 1 watt. Now let's step down 30 dBs, 72 dB. That is still someone talking very loud, bordering on shouting. So if you watch a movie and the actors are agitated, shouting at each other, that's still 72 dB. That requires 1 milliwatt of power, a thousandth of a watt, because by each 10 dB you need 10 times less wattage to drive it. So basically at 72 dB we are using, instead of 1 watt, 1 milliwatt, right? Now let's drop another 30 dB from that. That is 42 dB. And that's like a normal conversation level. So when you are at home talking to your spouse, provided you do not have hearing problems, that's the volume you will be using. And now we dropped another 30 dBs, so it means we are using 1 microwatt. So million times less than 1 watt. So this is the mathematics. And guess what? This is not the softest sound that you are going to hear. Our hearing goes down to 0 dB. And granted, there's not much recordings that can provide such low level, but let's say if you drop down to 12 dB, that's kind of like leaves rustling kind of volume level. Then we drop down another 1000 times in the power level, so we use 1 nanowatt. So 1 billionth of a watt to produce it. And guess what? If you have a good amplifier, that can resolve in the nanowatt scale. And guess what? If you have a good 1 watt amplifier, it has no problem working down to the nanowatt scale. But if you have an 800 watt amp, then good luck with that. It will be able to resolve down to the microwatt scale, but below that it's already going to fall out. And maybe like hundreds of nanowatts it will be still able to take care of, but at the 1 nanowatt scale it will be an utter failure. Now let's see what we are having when we have a loudspeaker, which would be like the generic today 92 dB efficient loudspeaker. So for that to reach 102 dB, you need 100 watts. So where I shall put it, like 100 watts. Now if you drop it to 72 dB level, then we need 1000 times less, so we need 100 milliwatts. So if you are listening to an average loudspeaker, like a small bookshelf loudspeaker, when the people are shouting or they are singing at an elevated voice, you are still listening to 10 times less than 1 watt. And that's not really congruent with the 800 watts needs. And if you are listening to just the singer, like dropping down to a quieter voice, 42 dB, then it's 100 microwatts, right? And it's, if you go to whisper quiet, then it's 100 nanowatts. So if you have what people would say a real world loudspeaker, you are still, most of the listening, I would say a lot of the listening content is still under 1,000 times or 10,000 times less than 1 watt. And that's why that low power output or that region, low power region of your amplifier is absolutely critical. Because first of all, this is the volume range, like between 40 and 70 dB, where our hearing is most discerning. And then when you go to really loud levels, our hearing has trouble differentiating sound quality. Because if you just double the volume, the ear will think that you are getting better sound, provided that it's not distorting exponentially more. So, but even if you have a slightly worse sound, but at a much higher volume, your ear will think it sounds better. But when you are down at the speech volume where we talk, if there are problems with distortion, then your ear will pick that up, and that's why it's still crucial that if you have a real world loudspeaker, that at the microwatt scale and milliwatt scale, your amp should do stellar. And what else? So that was part of it. Let's just screen just huh? How do we delete? I just want to get everything deleted. Black screen. Okay, so that does the trick. And so what happens, what I am also saying anyway, let's just get back here, and I'm showing you the other part of the story. So this was the part that people didn't want to believe. Well, I showed you the mathematics behind it, and now it's your part to believe, to choose whether you believe you are a rational human being or you want to stay in fairy tale land. If you want to stay in fairy tale land, well, good luck and power to you and sweet dreams. If you want to wake up, then just I commend you. Anyway, it doesn't really matter to me, but I'm just really upset that people just don't want to face the facts, and that's all right. If they don't want, fine, your choice. But if you still tout your dreams as if they were reality, now I have a problem with that. Well, not me, but actually I'm just upset that people are in the dark, because everyone, or I would say a lot of people, have this attitude, and this attitude is not because you want to stay in dreamland, but because we are not receiving correct information, because the tendency today is to get higher and higher power amplifiers because they are cheaper to manufacture. It's cheaper to manufacture $1,000 Class D amp than a properly made 1 watt per channel Class A tube amplifier. And now I will jump into the second part of this video, and this is the other part. That so the first part was people didn't want to believe that little power matters. And now I'm coming to the other side of the story, but they have no trouble at all believing in the other part, that if we use, for example, that DSP solves everything, that it's an easy band-aid. So like you have problems with your room, wow, we throw DSP on it, and everything is fine and dandy. Is everything fine and dandy? We will find it in the next video, and we will go through what Rel tells about this story, and that's a real story. You can also read it at their website. So here they will be showing you one part, that why DSP can fail you quite spectacularly, and I will tell you another story, another part. So here they tell why DSP doesn't work because of timing, and I will tell you the other part of the story, that why DSP doesn't work because of power needs. So thank you for everyone for tuning in. We will continue our rant.